Chris. No, I was waiting for a countdown. There's a small movie coming in, so to wait a few seconds. No, thanks, Chris, a lot for this invitation. And in fact, it's a real pleasure to be with you. I would much prefer being in your premises and at the Appleton Space Center. So I'm sitting here in Frascati. As you know, you have offered a dinner, delivery of a pizza. So be aware that I'm sitting in Italy. So this would be a challenge to go through the customs and get the pizza transported here. No, but I'm really pleased to be with you. I'm also quite happy to see what Graham has been presenting as the bright future of the UK in space. And it is really impressive, the program you have just laid out, Graham. Very impressive. And thanks also to a very strong subscription at the last ministerial, which makes all this possible, at least on the side of ESA. So what I'm going to show you is now the Earth observation part of it, where the UK has been very heavily investing. Earth observation is a priority in the UK, and I'm very, very glad to see that and to say that. You have mentioned the Truth mission, which is certainly a flagship for us and for the UK. Very interesting, very challenging mission, which is part of our wider portfolio of Earth observation missions, which is what we call takes the pulse of our planet with various observations and so looking at different elements of the Earth system. Here you see a picture that shows the portfolio of satellites which we have developed or which we are developing right now. You see the three streams of or three orbits of satellites which we have, the Earth Explorers, which are in the greenish color, the Copernicus missions, which are in the bluish color, and then the orange ones, which are meteorology missions. And the UK is a very strong partner in all of them, really all of them, including also Copernicus. And I may say a word on Copernicus in a minute. But this is really a strong portfolio. The UK has been significantly contributing and participating in building up this portfolio. And I'm very glad to say that UK contributions are very much valued and really are top of the class in this assembly of different satellite missions, both in all three domains, in the Earth science, the Earth Explorer missions, the Copernicus missions, and also in the meteorology missions. So altogether, as you see in the figure here, we have 38 satellites under development. It's quite a significant portfolio. This really is thanks to our cooperation and partnership we have with EUMETSAT, the European Commission, and obviously our member states to have such a strong portfolio. 16 satellites are in operation right now, and a couple of more, 14, are under preparation. That means they're not yet selected or confirmed for development phase, but they will be coming up pretty soon. And this is the world's strongest, largest portfolio of Earth observation missions, which we have built up all together. That means the member states, ESA, and the various partners in Europe. You see here some of the key significant numbers. We are delivering today from our central data hub about 250 terabytes of new Earth observation data every single day. It's huge, but this is only the tip of the iceberg because we have a free and open data policy, and then there is redissemination from these sites, sometimes through mirror sites, which is really spreading and using this data worldwide, which is really becoming the gold standard of Earth observation data. You also see on the right-hand side of one of these boxes the socioeconomic benefit which this is creating. You see quite impressive numbers in the tens of billions or 100 billion euros value, which is being created. Another figure which also is similar, a socioeconomic figure which was done by PricewaterhouseCoopers some years ago, which says that €1 invested in the Copernicus program brings 10 euros back to the economy through better information, new businesses, new opportunities that are being built up along the way. So it is really a program, and I've been quite impressed about Graham's outlook of the investment and the relatively strong ambition of the UK in space. And this is really an area where business is developed, and there's a very fast and dynamic sector. And Earth observation is one of the very fast developing ones. Here's an example showing the use of Copernicus data for crop mapping. I'm not going into detail in listing the various crops, but just to show that this is now being used routinely in various countries, including the UK, for agricultural monitoring. estimating crops for the whole country. And what you see here is some of these statistics in this particular case for Poland of agricultural crops monitored with our satellites. You see here a comparison of the year 2019 and 2020, just to keep track of the various categories and the various productions of agricultural crops. And this is a very important application. It has become routine, but certainly one of the elements that drives our sector significantly. What you see here is a dashboard which we have developed during COVID. In fact, when I heard about the COVID lockdowns here in Italy, which was one of the first countries, as you know, which went into lockdown, together with the Commission, we proposed to develop a dashboard and to list economic parameters, agriculture parameters, environmental parameters of different areas in the world using our satellites. Originally, we have done this for European satellites, mostly Copernicus satellites, but then in a second step, we have invited also NASA and JAXA, and this dashboard is now very popular and is used across the world to really compare different parameters. One example shown is here air pollution. You see here the air pollution during lockdown in the March-April timeframe 2020 compared with the same months in 2019, and you see immediately the figures here show that there is about 50% less pollution or NO2 concentration as shown here from Central 5B during the lockdowns. And this kind of parameters are on the dashboard and are shown. What you see here is one example, a very successful mission. The prime is in the UK, AELOS, one of our most exciting science missions. And what you see is the impact of the satellite on the numerical weather prediction, or in this particular case, on hurricane forecasts on the left side of Dorian, which is one of the hurricanes, which was in August this year. You see the green dots are the ones that have been predicted using data from AELOS. The red dots are the ones without, and the black dots are the reality. If you don't see the color well, but the green and the black dots should be not too far apart from each other, or in other words, that the inclusion of AELOS data in this forecast has significantly improved the forecast of the hurricane path. On the right-hand side, a similar graph, again showing the impact of this AELOS data on forecast accuracy, simulating AELOS winds. Again, the more red it is, the better or the higher the impact was on the numerical weather prediction forecast. So this is information coming from ECMWF on a routine basis. What you see here is just yet another example where AELOS was used in the hurricane Lothar wind velocity predictions, but again, the inclusion of AELOS was really showing a huge improvement of forecasting. This is one example that shows some of the biodiversity-related aspects. There is a small movie running that shows the change of the biodiversity, and here another example of permafrost in the north again over time. You see here in the bluish color where the permafrost thaw is taking place and is changing over different years. Again, this is based on the information which we are producing. Of course, extremely important, extremely relevant, because this thawing, as you know, is releasing methane, and methane is considered one of the very dangerous, very aggressive gases, greenhouse gases. It's actually about 80 times more aggressive than CO2. Thank God the concentration is much lower, but the release through the polar regions or the permafrost is sometimes also mentioned as a ticking time bomb, and we have to monitor what happens here and how this works. What you see here is an example really of our activities also in EXAT. One is the ESA Center in Harwell. We have a very strong activity there, mostly focusing on telecom and integrated applications, but also in my directorate, we have a significant climate change activity. The ESA climate office is sitting in Harwell, is located there, and we're doing a lot of work on evaluating and showing the various climate parameters. Let me step back for a moment and look a bit into the future, the trends, what is happening. And this is really also the theme of this conference here. what is the future opportunity and what are the potentials. Earth observation is a growing market. You see here some of these boxes, but on average, the various indicators show that the market is increasing by about 10% per year in terms of turnover or number of people working on it or number of companies being active in this domain. So the evaluating sector is a very strong growth sector, actually quite significant, and many companies are really using these data and making also good business on top of science, obviously, which is a very important aspect as well. On the right-hand side, you see some of these revolutions that take place, AI and machine learning and hubs with whom we are putting our data together in order to make sure that the IT revolution matches with the space revolution in Earth observation. Copernicus, we are now engaging in the next generation. You could call it Copernicus 2.0. There are 6 satellites that are listed here. In fact, today I'm signing the last of these 6, ROSEL, of these contracts to go into phase B2 CD. There is a breakpoint at the end of next year where we will decide to go from phase B2 into phase CD. But these 6 missions are really the next generation of satellites measuring new parameters and the next dimension of instruments that these satellites have on board. I'm not going into detail, but just to say that they do address a number of domains. Climate is certainly one of the top priorities. Graham mentioned COP in Glasgow. Certainly, our satellites are geared to provide critical information for climate change observations, but also for other domains like agriculture, like Africa, like Arctic regions, to better understand our Earth system. What you see here is another category of satellites which we have launched at the last ministerial, a completely new type of missions. We call them scout missions. They are smaller in size. The financial volume is around 35 million per satellite. We had a call, and through a competitive process, we have down selected to 4 of these satellites. They are listed here, and I'm very glad to make at this conference the public announcement of the winner of these missions, which is ESP MAX, which has been selected as and agreed by our program board for Earth observation last week as the first mission, the first scout mission to be implemented. ESP MAX has a very strong UK contribution, is led by the UK, and is a really exciting new type of mission where we are going into a new domain, especially addressing the new space domain. They are not small satellites in terms of CubeSats. They are slightly larger. As I said, the financial envelope is in the 35 million range altogether. But this is really a new category which we're launching. And then, as I said, very happy to see the UK playing a leading role in this new category of satellites. Then this shows a bit the program where we are working, or how we realize some of these ideas, called Incube, which is a public-private partnership program in Earth observation. It's a bit similar to ARTES for telecom, but in our case for Earth observation, and where the idea comes from industry. It can either be a hardware investment, or it can be data analytics or ground segment, or a combination of it. And it's been quite successful. The UK has been a strong subscriber and supporter of this program, and we have quite a number of initiatives going on there. And certainly something that the new space sector is thriving. One of the examples of these new space domains or elements is what we call FISAT. FISAT-1, as you might, some of you might remember, was announced as a challenge 2 years ago. It was then developed. It's the first satellite that has an AI chip on board for machine learning and is doing AI processing in space. We have trained the AI chip to detect clouds from cloud-free areas. This is the very first image, which was shown a couple of weeks ago, producing a cloud mask, AI computed cloud mask, to basically, in this case, reduce data volumes and only send data down from cloud-free areas. But you could train the same AI chip also to detect chips or to detect fires or other things. Of course, you need to train the AI algorithm, through machine learning, the algorithm, in order to train the algorithm. The next slide shows a vision into the future, which is what we call digital twin Earth, which is really a combination, and this is where we are engaging ourselves at the moment, a combination of Earth observation data from our satellites with in situ observations, coupled with artificial intelligence, with Earth system science and modeling, in order to allow making predictions and simulations of our planet, and really have what-if scenarios. What happens if I change a parameter here? What is the impact on people? What's the impact on society? What's the impact on the economy? In order to really have segments of our Earth as a digital twin in order to make these simulations. And with this, I thank you, and I hand back to you, Chris, for questions and answers. Chris, we do not hear you.
Sorry. Josef, thank you very much for that, and also for formally announcing the ESP EMAX, which we obviously have a very strong involvement in, so we're very pleased to see that taken forward. Just a question on the, you mentioned that there were 38 Earth observation satellites under construction. I mean, is there enough capacity in UK industry to deliver this, do you know?
That's a very good point. The UK industry is actually excellent, and we have the UK industry involved in many satellites. Okay, I shouldn't say it maybe, but Forum is one of the next missions that is where we will ask for competitive offers in the phase AB1. Both consortia have been led by the UK, for example, one UK TAS and one UK Airbus. But we will come now with soon with an ITT for the development of the whole satellite. Of course, this is a competitive process, but the UK industry certainly has been involved in the early phases, and therefore is, for example, extremely well positioned. But UK industry is involved in a number of missions. I mentioned Sentinel 5B, I mentioned AELOS, but also in almost all the satellites, UK industry is involved, either in a larger role or in a smaller one, and the quality is excellent. I really wish, and this is also a bit of a message to the community in the UK and to Graham, I strongly hope that after Brexit, you are heavily and strongly relying on the ESA role and investment as your space agency to realize your dreams and your ambitions. And we are ready to do that. We are actually, that's our job, but we are really looking forward to intensify this cooperation in the future.
I think we're all very pleased to hear that. Obviously, we're about to enter some uncertain times, and I think to know that we have a very strong partner in ESA is I think, good for us. Also, very good to see the outputs from Sentinel 5P and such a graphic demonstration that COVID has given us of our impact. Maybe this will make people think a bit more carefully about what they're doing. So thank you very much, Josef, for your presentation. It was certainly worth the wait to get you, and we look forward to having you back in future years. So thank you very much,
Jason.